water. Thinking it must be deer season. There's a lot more vehicles parked along the road, using the road, and people camping this morning than usual. There's a new one over there. Had an interesting driving experience this weekend visiting our son in the city. There we go.
It's probably somebody who's watching us.
Yeah. Doug, are you driving?
I'm helping.
Well, a friend of mine who's a hunter gave me this orange kerchief to so it's a good idea to wear that during hunting season. Let the hunters see you. I'll be heading over that way later today. But first to the ruin and some petroglyphs this way. Well, I've hit another little hilltop, just a little one. Seen pottery all over the place, I think. There's a piece of pottery. Yeah, that's a pretty big one. See some littler ones there. That's plain pottery. Well, this aggregation of rocks is likely remnants of the Habitation site. See a little bit of a line here. Definitely not random scatter, and there's quite a concentration of them up here. Also, you can see a big cleared area here. And again, a bunch more rocks to this side. So, well, I'm on another little flat area here that looks like people could use it. I'm not seeing pottery, but I just saw this little very faint petroglyph. There's a rock wall over on that hillside. I don't know if you can see it. It's in the shade. I spotted that on Google Earth yesterday, looking around, and I hadn't noticed that one before. Well, that's a pretty healthy looking wall. From here, I'll say it's modern, built by ranchers or sheep herders in the last 120 years. But looking down, it's a little hard to see because of the sun. If I stoop down, you can see it sort of ends here in this rock outcrop. So it looks like it's built more for a corral purpose to me. A lot of work to stack these rocks up. But I'm going with modern. Just ends here. I don't know. It's a wall for one side, but I don't think it would keep anybody in as it is right now. This whole hillside really is covered with broken pottery. I'm still, I think, a few hundred yards away from the main Habitation site, but it's a major one. Supposedly 300 rooms or so. Pretty nice rim piece there. Big anyway, and thick. Well, it's a view of one of the big masonry ruins here. You can tell by how thick the rock is on the ground. There was an awful lot of it that went into it. Tall walls that collapsed, which is what makes this big heap of stuff. Probably the roof was not stone, probably something lighter. A couple supports for some wood and maybe some other plant material. From what I've read, these things did not have doors to the outside. You had to enter through the roof. And any doorway we see here, I'll walk around a little bit and see if I can find one, is between internal rooms. From what I've read, none of the ruins on this mesa were professionally excavated. What you see is the result of pot hunters over the last 100 years been coming and taking what they could. Of course, that's out of fashion these days and doesn't happen. And according to the archaeologist's summary of the area I was just reading, what they know about it, they know by looking at what has been exposed by the pot hunters. This shows a pretty nice exposed wall. Would have been mainly buried until it was dug out by someone. See another one down there. This whole room, a couple rooms here were pretty well dug out. That looks like a doorway over there. You see a very distinct edge on the left and a little less distinct on the right. But the original construction was not bad. You can't judge that based on what you see collapsed, but the walls that have been exposed show pretty nice construction. Well, I was heading up the hill above the ruin, and this is where I wanted to get to, this other wall, which I'd stumbled on a few years ago. Well, it's quite a substantial wall. It's very old. You can see the lichen on it. It goes a long way. And when I first saw it, I came at it from the other end, and I was thinking it was probably a rancher or shepherd's wall, until I came up on these petroglyphs, which I can see down here. The petroglyphs are built into the wall, which makes it a little more likely that it's ancient. I actually asked the archaeologist who knows the most about this area. He said this wall's a bit of an enigma, he said. And he wasn't sure whether it was shepherds or whether it was ancient. But we'll go look at some petroglyphs. That may be a spiral. And down below, that looks like concentric circles. A few other things. And a little bit of a grid over there. We'll better look at that one. And those down there. And the grid. Now I know there's a real nice glyph around here, which is what I really want to see. And so I'll have to look around for it. Well, this isn't it yet, but I don't know that I noticed this one before. Another quite faint spiral. That's really very old. The funny thing is, this is a big habitation site, and I'd never found any glyphs around it until I found these. Look like some interesting marks. It probably man-made. I'm not certain about that. Maybe. Well, that's not the one either, but that's one I remember. It's a pretty interesting one. Uses what I call negative relief, in that it makes sort of a negative image instead of a positive image. And it's, unfortunately, it's a little bit degraded. There's something on the opposite side. I can see from up here. That's a big horn. I'm trying to get my footing. Now apparently there were big horns here until the sheep came in the early 20th century. The shepherds were mainly Basques from Spain. They watched the sheep, and the sheep brought diseases and wiped them out. Not bad. The wall's pretty long. There it is. It's smaller than I remember it, and I almost walked right by it. This one right here. Very nicely rendered bighorn. It looks like a deer above it, judging by the antlers. Not too big. That's the one I wanted to find. One more thing to say about these walls. There are examples that exist in Arizona of them being built by ancient people in order to channel game. You could channel them to maybe run them off a cliff, or maybe channel them into a corral. Maybe I'll stick in a petroglyph I've seen about the corral approach. Going to be heading over that hill. Area where I've walked very little before, but there isn't much reason to expect much. Well, usually you see the bones more scattered than this. I don't know what that is. I was just looking back at that hill I traversed to get over here. It's real crappy walking, lots of rocks that slide just under the grass. I'm using poles, I'd be on my butt all the time if I wasn't, but while sitting here, I saw one of my friends over here, a balloon. I've been picking those up almost every hike. See what we got here. Well, let's see. Happy Mother's Day. There you go. Don't get too many of those. Well, walking by, I see a hole I didn't expect. This must be a mine. I'm not much of a mine explorer. Oh look, it's all full of water. Well, I've come down off the ridges to a flat spot, getting near the bottom, near the mesa. And this looks like a little habitation site here. A little bit of a rock perimeter, but there's pottery. Seeing a fair amount of pottery. Let's see if I can. Here's some pottery. There's orange pieces down there. Quite a few little ones over here. I may pick up a piece, but basically this is just showing you the little pottery that's all over the place in the cleared areas with the rocky edges are just over here. That's the little hill I've been heading for the last, I suppose hour and a half, maybe 2 hours even. I haven't found anything in between where I'd hoped to, but I didn't make it this far, so we'll look at this thing and hopefully find a few petroglyphs and then make my way back. Well, I see a glyph or two up there. I see a man and an animal, or maybe two animals. Here's a better view of this guy. He's leaning a bit. Here's the couple simple animals over here. Some crude ones there. The ones over there. Looks like the one on the top over there is a little better. It's now a little closer to these guys. That's a long-legged animal up there. So just under this one, there's some grinding marks. That round one is, well, it's not very smooth. That's clearly been man-made. And over here there's some interesting stuff. It's a groove and also a bunch of scratches. We come up here, there's scratches that are actually in some sort of pattern. Again, it looks like some grooves put in the rock. Let me just feel those and see. Yeah, definitely those are man-made grooves. Oh, we got some over here. It's a little bit better. Some animals, and some concentric circles, and some dark patina. Contrast is actually what I wanted to see. The one I was just looking at, the light on the dark, and immediately next to it is a dark on a light. You can get them both at the same time. This one over here, which looks dark, a light rock, that's unusual. But quite effective to do it that way here. And then down here, quite old ones.